A lot of Sivir gameplay has gone around too. The Varus, the Sivir, both up here still. With the Lucian ban out, we won't get the Zeri Lulu Lucian Nami combination once again. So we're in for something spicy. We get the Zeri Lulu one side, or not the Lulu, because the Lulu's also banned. So it'll have to be Zeri plus another enchanter.
And for the underrated Luger, as you said, Zeri is definitely a powerful pick. Luger actually looked really good against Team Liquid earlier this league, and now he's going toe-to-toe with the most dominant bot laner in the league. And I think it's one of those things where we talked so much about Luger and Poome when they first came to the LCS because of their previously founded synergy and their times on 100 Thieves and on Academy.
200 years!
It's going to be on the opposite side. Prince coming through with the Aphelios. This is one of the picks that people really called out when thinking about how good Prince can look.
So Prince has used 7 different champions in 8 games. Now we're going to top it off with 8 here, bringing back the Aphelios. He has started to very slowly creep back in around the world. A couple of plays here and there in pro play. Super excited to see it, though. It is a champion, as far as AD carries go, that you don't want to have to dive into. And already with first 2 picks, FlyQuest, with the Maokai, in addition to the Aphelios here, showing that they are going to have a lot of options if CLG are playing that CLG style, diving forward, charging at you. CLG, though, one of the biggest domino picks here for them, the Sejuani. They love playing melee solo laners, so having that Sejuani plus 2 melee solo laners has really been the secret to a lot of CLG success, and they get 1 here, presumably for Palafox in the mid lane. Dhokla, of course, having back-to-back massive Aurelia games for the team so far this split.
Dhokla, I love the confidence he's been coming in with this week, not just on the Rift, but on socials as well, backing it up with some banter. And yes.
And the skydiving pictures.
yeah, you know, I definitely give it to them for holding their lunch as much as possible with all that wind force. But when they're used to keeping their nerve about them on the stage, I'm sure it was easy peasy. And looking to make easy peasy work of FlyQuest if you're on the side of CLG as a fan.
So this is one of my preferred strategies for pick ban, is when you are on, red side, grabbing that top laner and then doing 2 protection bans. So FlyQuest, they're able to grab Impact the Jax, big carry threat. He does have his own world skin for it. I've never seen him actually use it, but every time I cross my fingers and hope that it's going to happen. But then since you pick it on your 3rd pick in red side, you get 2 protection ban chances before Dhokla gets to pick a counter pick into it. And they go for both the Renekton and the Fiora here to try and set Impact up for success.
Whittling down the options that CLG can lock in, especially considering how they want to set up alongside this Sejuani, having already locked in that Sylas. And we'll see what else they can bring through. Thresh has come through a little bit as well. Got some play this week thus far. We're starting to see the trickles in the shifts in support position and beyond.
Yeah, Winsome not having the greatest Thresh game there, so maybe some FlyQuest fans are happy to see, okay, he won't be rooting himself with his death sentence and dropping any more plays there. But it is one of the champions that can keep Aphelios safe. You're always thinking, this Aphelios, the big weakness, obviously, does not have a dash of his own, so will be denied that Lantern, and they drop the Yone for Vicla, baby!
Vicla switching things up, had the Jace, even though it didn't go as well last time around, now coming through with the Yone.
Yeah, Jace is not gone for anybody. For anybody here in North America. We get the Annie back again, and a Gangplank, another melee solo laner here for CLG. Really excited to see this Annie play again with the recent buffs. Even though it was hotfix pretty quickly nerfed, still a massive, massive improvement for the champion, and gives you so many playmaking options. Gangplank ultimate from top side, CLG saying, hey, we can play around bottom side. We don't have to play around Dhokla on top side as a single carry threat. His ult bottom plus an Annie Tibbers level 6 with some stuns. They have a lot of options. Contractz and Palafox both have set up a lot of bottom lane dives. So we'll see. Can CLG deliver FlyQuest another loss, or FlyQuest going to bounce right back on top?
That's what FlyQuest are aiming for, bringing in the Tahm Kench to keep that Aphelios protected, rounding that out. And I don't know. What are you favoring here, Kobe? CLG, FlyQuest, taking any CLG leanings out of it?
Well, I mean, FlyQuest, I think, should definitely beat favorites coming into this matchup regardless. I do like the exciting draft here from CLG, though. I can see a lot of the tools that they have already successfully used, even just this week. And we'll see.
Day here at the LCS as well. So we are rocking and rolling, getting on to the Rift. But one thing when talking about what CLG is bringing through with the draft, they brought out the Annie earlier this week, and then now once again, is whether it's this roster this year or last year, or even some of the other iterations prior to that, it feels like this is a team that is always willing to look at the upcoming patch and see what they can bring through before anyone else. And Annie is a prime example of that.
Yeah, I love the willingness of this team to play the champions that they are just good at, even if they are not necessarily the most meta, as seen by, you know, a lot of their double assassin solo lane compositions. And as well, like you're talking about, jumping on whatever is new in the patch notes that could be OP before the balance team gets a chance to, you know, correct it too far. We'll see if it actually ends up, you know, taking effect this time around. One of the big things for Annie, of course, is that she does get to start with her stun now. No vision, though, currently. See if there's a delayed invade, because Palafox is dangerously close.
Oh, he's there. He was trying to get them to throw out what they got for FlyQuest, but did make the turn quick enough. And has Contractz near on by, going for it, has to flash away, so FlyQuest do manage to get the summoner.
Yeah, and that is actually the worst of both worlds there. Palafox really did not want to flash, and so he holds it, hoping that, you know, Contractz W slow is going to be enough to peel for him. But because he holds it so long and greeds it a little bit there, FlyQuest are able to get the damage on him, chunking out, what is that, like 600 health almost taken total. He's got no potions left, just his Doran's shield. And he has no flash. So he's a level 1 Sylas with no potions. He's just going to have to wait for his biscuits to arrive to try and sustain here versus Vicla. And he has no flash. That is a giant target on your back. Sylas is always trying to trade his health, you know, for minions early on here. And should mean that Vicla has supreme dominance in the mid lane for the early stages. So much so, Spica being able to finish up the counter jungle on Raptors, plus red, and then just cross right back through vision, through mid lane to go to his Raptors in red, alerting Contractz to know, guess what? You are going to be starving a little bit this game.
It's not something that just put the ankle weights on Palafox. It affects the way that Contractz has to approach these next minutes. But I know the audience is here for CLG. Big Dokes energy right there on the signs. Have you had any favorite signs so far?
I really like the one on the first day of Super Week where I was casting with Captain Flowers and someone asked Flowers if he would be their sugar daddy.
And he didn't say no!
And it just stun locked him. Very rare to be able to stun lock Captain Flowers, but I witnessed it live. See if bottom lane can get stun lock here. They should know, though. Contractz literally only had Krugs up. He has to be bottom.
He's here going for the slow onto Prince. Luger in pursuit, but Prince flashing away now. Winsome putting his body between himself and the rest. And Tahm, Kench, dangerous burn on him. First blood to Luger.
Honestly, if I'm Spica, I'm kind of pissed at my bottom lane here. You know, you know that Contractz has to be bottom. There's no other camps that he could be going to. He goes from Krugs, he gets a successful bottom lane gank off on Prince, puts him behind, gets the Scuttle Crab before being harassed and pushed out by the Maokai. But that is such an amazing recovery here from the CLG jungler. Contractz is able to go straight bottom, runs right past those Krugs, gets down to Winsome and Prince. Poome, you can see the Annie, got the slow onto Prince pretty early, and then Winsome sacrifices himself, flashing in front of Contractz. It does deny that kill being on Prince, but it's still extra money for CLG. Still means that FlyQuest bottom lane loses out on the extra pressure.
And all of the summoners expelled for the FlyQuest bottom lane as well during that time. So some caution that they will have to take moving forward. A couple, of course, for CLG too. In mid lane, some swings onto Palafox. Knows that he has some friends nearby in the jungle if necessary.
Support roams, baby. They are powerful. Poome on the move with Contractz. Lot of CC in that duo. But Spica, thankfully for FlyQuest, was able to get the crab before and get out. Contractz, he queued into the pit and then walked, hugging the top side of the pit to avoid that scuttle crab vision. Even with those shenanigans, though, avoiding vision still is sniffed out by Impact.
Drops the ward over on that top side, so Impact definitely knows how to play very carefully when lacking the knowledge of the enemy jungler here. But when talking about Annie just moving up all that way, how do you expect the roams here on the Annie with Poome to compare to some of the other supports we have seen in the league thus far this split?
Annie's one of the best roaming supports we have in the game. It all depends if you can get time for Annie to roam, though. Roam windows are what you need to look for. Helping ganking bottom is the first step. Getting that Annie some time to be able to move where Luger is safe. Does have his flash. Looks like a couple of close trades here on the top side of the map, but not gonna be any blood just yet until Contractz arrives. Maybe he's gonna do a little bit of a lane gank here. Impact does jump in.
Oh yeah, gets the leaping strike.
Got him.
Side bashed in the face by Contractz.
Really good job there by Dhokla, baiting Impact in, giving him a nice little juicy Gangplank to jump onto. He gets the bait successfully. Poome, though, with the attempted roam up the river.
Uses the Pyromania stun to try and create some distance, but Winsome going undertow and up above. They put Poome right in the center of that triangle for his own death.
Wandering Annie gets instantly taken down for the rebuttal from FlyQuest. Also gives them control over the dragon. So we had a recall from Luger inside the jungle. Zeri all the way back to base. Means Prince with his white gun is able to get a turret plate, and they're gonna get a dragon off of it. FlyQuest is always so good at retaining focus on the objective, even if something like, the Contractz lane gank up top side catches Impact off guard. They've dropped down a kill. They still remain focused. They go for their bottom side play. They get their cross map, and it's even more value for them, getting the kill plus the dragon and a turret plate for their AD carry.
A right read on the room when talking about how great at roaming Andy is when finding the windows. That also gives the opportunity to punish when caught out in that way. So FlyQuest making sure that CLG don't get too much of an avalanche in gold or anything beyond. Plenty of wards right across that line of scrimmage in the Dragonside River after acquiring that first Drake for themselves. So keeping that objective focus that you mentioned, and CLG still planning to build their power elsewhere, falling behind in the lanes though in CS.
Yeah, and it's definitely something you need to keep in mind as a jungler whenever you're gonna go for a topside gank. If you're going for a topside gank before 8 minutes, then you have to realize you could be giving up the cross map for a dragon and not getting an objective back in your favor in exchange, because Riftveiled pre 8 minutes won't be there for you to take. So now Contractz, once it has spawned, heads on up there, and because of his top lane gank, Dhokla has the advantage here over Impact. Impact down to 50% HP, and they're actually going to go for it. Spica blast cones in.
He's here, throws down the ultimate, wants to get the lock onto 2, but ends up missing both. Impact also on the collapse, and Vicla burned on down, ults into the backline of them all. Contractz marked down low, but it's Dhokla that's the first to fall in this exchange. A stun up onto Impact, gets punished in the process. Contractz, no flash as it was previously used. FlyQuest wants to get Palafox after he flashes over the wall, manages to get some slaps on him. Double kill for Vicla.
The Riftveiled wants to see some blood, and the Riftveiled gets what it wants. Everybody down except for Vicla. What a collapse here from FlyQuest. Spica goes over really early on the blast cone, and double solo laners coming in. Vicla starts it out on the Yone, going in with his E, and gets focused by CLG, but they're unable to burst him down. And so they win the bit of the skirmish here for FlyQuest. Here's another look at it. Spica starts out with his Maokai ultimate, which actually gets dodged because it's pointing towards topside. But then there's the focus on Vicla. Everything from CLG. He snaps back and flashes after his E, so he's able to escape while they take down the Gangplank here. And without Dhokla, not going to be able to finish up on the skirmish. Spica then falling with his W into tower range. Just barely locked up for a little bit too long there by the E2 from Palafox. Got stunned at tower.
Meanwhile, down on the bot side, Luger is playing Zeri, so you do have some mobility to get out of these tight binds that Aphelios decides to descend upon you. But over on top, Impact leaping away with this 2v2. We have seen so often Spica using the vision they've been granted over on bot side to be able to match and answer Contractz when he's making rotations and vice versa.
Yeah. One big thing too off of that Rift Herald play, it should be noted, yes, CLG got out quicker back onto the map and picked up the Rift Herald, but also because they used their first Gangplank ultimate in that skirmish on top side, they can't use it on bottom side, and so top side is going to be camped by Contractz.
Impact, once again, the subject of CLG. They were trying to make it happen, and now they did. A kill in CLG's favor.
See, they picked the Gangplank on my, oh, maybe they won't be playing around Dhokla. Maybe they'll play around bottom side with Gangplank ultimate. Nope, Contractz still camps top side.
Contractz fallen into a little bit of action with Spica and Vicla. So it's almost one of those things that you think of when, okay, Gangplank ultimate has so much reach, probably means prioritizing that pressure elsewhere, but CLG saying, now we're still gonna keep to our strategy. Palafox taking a lot of damage here though, and use the hijack and beyond to get out. Yeah,
I mean, this is set up to be Vicla's game. He got such a big advantage off the level 1 where they chunked out Palafox down to like 150 HP, blew his flash early. You know, Vicla's on the Yone, big playmaking champion, finds Annie.
Wants to keep going, and that's the thing about Yone is when you have Soul Unbound, and especially that combo whenever Fate Sealed is up, it's difficult to imagine your team getting out of reach of the power that Vicla will be able to dish out.
Yeah, especially with him picking up the extra kills from the Rift Herald play. Big item on the list for CLG is going to be how can we contain this mid lane. There is currently teleport advantage for Vicla as well, while Spica is heading bottom side to try and push Luger off this wave, and they just call their Yone down. Vicla only has to come halfway down through the jungle, and CLG's bottom lane, you see them giving up access to this minion wave. It is a cannon minion wave on tower, and it's going to be another tower plate for Prince.
And one of the difficulties there when you have Luger and Poome push back is, yes, there's this great stun that you can do with Annie, but it's also so visible when that stun is even available. So on FlyQuest side, knowing that they can continue to pressure them down, lots of plates already eliminated here past the 12-minute mark in the mid and bottom lane because Vicla, no issue with playing aggressively onto Palafox.
And it looks like that bottom lane focus with their roam from Vicla plus the kind of hover there from Spica is going to result in Dragon number 2 picked up for them. So while the gold is pretty close, and of course you have to take into account the added gold from Gangplank passive being generated by CLG, the 2 dragons here for FlyQuest are looking pretty nice.
Which means it's an Ocean Soul that'll eventually be up for grabs coming on to the Rift here, but CLG managing to keep that gold, even though, yes, there's a lot of dominance on the actual objective play from FlyQuest. But what would you say of the current state of these two teams, considering the comps that they brought through, and what's expected as we're pressing into that 14-minute mark soon?
I mean, we're going to have, first of all, a nice engagement from Vicla pushing out mid. Like I said, I feel like it's going to be about FlyQuest's mid jungle and what CLG can do on the side lanes instead. So Vicla's going to keep on pressuring Palafox, chunks him out super heavily again, and now he's got freedom. So whenever you have mid lane priority, FlyQuest looking to make it spill over. They've tried to keep Impact afloat here on the top side because Contractz has been camping him for so long, and with the Rift Herald on top side, it almost takes down the turret, but
the return of Sejuani to answer the ultimate by Spica, and they continue to go on down. Dhokla into stasis under the cannon barrage, and now getting some more slices because Vicla said, yup, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be everywhere to get the kills. Another 1-4 and 3-0-1 on the scoreboard right now.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part in this game. If you don't have mid prow like that, Yone roaming very, very fearsome. He gets up there, they get the kill. Still, the turret was taken by CLG. Contractz is going to run into one of those annoying saplings here, so Impact should be able to get out no problem. But CLG getting the gold, getting the extra territory on the map by actually taking down the turret might be an avenue for them.
Yep, that first turret for CLG. FlyQuest looking to answer with that bot side turret now for themselves. A lot of that pressure that they were able to implement on the bot side to answer Contractz' presence over on that top side. Really identifying their win condition in this game between Dragons and that pressure.
3 kills now for Vicla Yone. With the extra BF sword on top of the shield bow, quite a lot of DPS, and Yone pretty happy about the acceleration towards his Infinity Edge. Now, in the long lane, it's going to be pretty difficult to deal with him. He's got Unleashed Teleport, and FlyQuest can rotate their Tahm Kench here through to the mid lane. You keep Prince safe, plus you threaten pretty quick roams yourself. CLG now, the #1 priority, try and get your defensive vision up so you can actually see these moves from FlyQuest. If you allow these rotations too quickly from FlyQuest, you're just going to continue to get picked off, continue to bleed gold here.
It's one of those points where you want to create advantage of your own. That's what they're trying to do here. Winsome flashing out in response to the ultimate lockdown, and the grass coming through from Spica as well. The Tiber's thrown out too, but no one's going to die just yet. There were enough retreat paths available, even have the control down here when Spica was trying to creep up from the opposite side. But the second Rift Herald is up. FlyQuest are the first to rotate to it with the vision afforded to them. Meanwhile, still keeping up that pressure in mid lane with this dwindling turret.
Yep, Aphelios able to annihilate the minion wave, no problem. We even have impact on Jax. After shoving out bottom lane, is able to come pressure towards mid. FlyQuest, because they've got access to all these minion waves, just corralling CLG in their own territory, doing a very good job here and trying to continue to extend their lead in the game. They retake the very, very marginal gold lead, but pretty importantly, get that Rift Herald #2 off of the map, pick it up for themselves so they continue this tower destruction.
Just trying to break down as much as they can. Palafox with the hijack ultimate. Throwing it down, gets the root, but Vicla just so strong at this point. Wherever he finds the fight with Palafox is still able to show a decent amount of dominance, slashing against him under this turret here.
All right, reset here pretty quickly for FlyQuest. Prince back out on the field. He's close to Infinity Edge, doesn't quite have enough to finish it on this back. But heading out here with Gale Force, he is definitely one of the players that most offensively uses these Gale Force actives. He buys Gale Force on most every AD carry. Very excited to see what he's able to pull off it. We've had some real big Aphelios highlights, especially here with this item, and with Spica having ultimate available on Maokai and Dragon #3 about to spawn, you have to think FlyQuest gonna get some saplings and river control here for themselves and advance the dragon, and then set up for a big Maokai ultimate.
Oh, a buck slammed, and I mean, Shelby's still going at the turret here. With most of the teams joined here on the bot side, I think it is important to call out things like that Gale Force, right? The same way when we're looking at stopwatches and beyond, there's a reason that champions like Aphelios, like Jhin, and all the like started building this item when it came through, offering a sense of mobility and a very immobile champion. So suddenly when you think you're getting the lockdown on one of the most prominent threats for FlyQuest, he has an escape mechanism, especially with that active currently available. Of course, a completed item on the opposite side for Luger, but still working into that next power spike. CLG don't want to step up to this dragon take, so it is sole point for FlyQuest with a 1.2k gold lead here past 18 minutes.
I hear the CLG faithful in the audience here trying to keep that faith alive. The defense, we need defense chance for them right now because the map is closing in around on them. FlyQuest, as we said, moving ahead their tower destruction as well as picking up Dragon #3, successfully taking down all outer defenses of CLG, makes it really difficult for them to pick their moment. So CLG right now, they're looking at when can we get close enough on items with our carries to be able to choose our moment and just all in. We have Annie Sejuani. You get them with a Gangplank ultimate for the slow. You flash in with the Annie, try and get a large engagement there, pick some people off, and you have to explosively blow open a window back into this game for yourself. Otherwise, FlyQuest will continue to push in on you. Vicla now on the top side, though. He's the chosen one.
Surrounded by 3, and CLG once to defy what he has accomplished thus far over the wall falls to Palafox.
All right, CLG trying to blow open a hole back into this game. They choose Vicla, the fed Yone. They take him down. They get the bounty. Really nice flash from Contractz, flashing in front of the ultimate from Yone so that he's not going to go the full distance. Will stop on the champion. And because of that, forces the flash out of Vicla, followed by Palafox. Much needed money here. And getting it into the Sylas with 2 stacks on the Rod of Ages, closing in. Couple more minutes here for him, and maybe that will be the moment that CLG can try and peak and actually come in time for this dragon. With 3 minutes on that timer, it might line up quite nicely for themselves. Because giving away the soul would be a real heartbreaker for them, so they have to rally around. Annie still having stun is a really big one too. That last play only took the flashes of Contractz and Palafox to accomplish, and being able to have the Annie stun for the dragon fight with a big flash, definitely a moment where Poome could take it back.
Definitely one of my favorite ARAM plays, though. You get the snowball with Annie as well, and you can just get right in there, get the stun up, and accomplish all you need. But that's why that flash has a little extended value when it comes to Annie specifically, to be able to set up the rest of the play, even sacrifice your life when necessary.
Yeah, and the best thing about it is that it is an AoE stun. So even if Winsome is there for the Tahm Kench to be able to eat someone, you're going to stun everybody, including the Tahm Kench, and delay that defensive maneuver. You have to keep in mind, of course, Prince has taken cleanse this game, seeing all the CC in front of his base. So you're going to have to work through that and account for that as well ahead of time. But if they can use it to kill either of those solo lane carries, then that could definitely set them up. Meanwhile, Vicla wants to remind you that he is still the super fed one in this game. Pushes up, side lane priority for him. I think FlyQuest correctly keeping up their 1-3-1 pressure. Jack split push on top side, Vicla on bottom side, keeping CLG again kind of pinned up on their own side of the map so that their vision starts to dwindle.
And speaking of that dwindling vision that FlyQuest has ensured to be decreasing for CLG, they're on the Baron right now. CLG have this intel. There's still a teleport available for Vicla. 2 teleports coming on through. The cannon coming down for Dhokla as well. Some chunks on, but it is FlyQuest getting the Baron. Answered with a hijack. Winsome goes down. Vicla ults out of the equation, so CLG only taking down a support thus far, and all the purple that FlyQuest are donning remain for the rest of the 4.
Yeah, they burn it right down. CLG, even with the couple of wards there towards the Scuttle Crab, are a little bit too late. FlyQuest are able to burn it down, and only sacrificing Winsome, only the support, is definitely a good trade for FlyQuest. So now with Baron buff, they're going to be able to get back out there. Winsome up in 1 second here, will be able to arrive for the dragon as well. CLG correctly being able to get a little bit more out of it and taking mid turret, some gold for themselves. Plus they now have the vision advantage.
Oh, the stun, but that's the thing when it comes to Vicla and Prince, as you identified the 2 people that CLG really have to worry about and what they have in their arsenal to try and escape some of the bursts that CLG want to throw down, and they want to go for more right now. Vicla starting to get it, but he gets a shutdown onto Palafox instead. Contractz knocked up, knocked down. The anti-Tibbers response, and soon that power goes down, down, down. Contractz eliminated. 2 for CLG. FlyQuest coming out on top in the fight.
Yeah, FlyQuest coming out on top, all right. Their rewards for coming out on top should be the Dragon Soul. Vicla here with the Soul Unbound is kind of delaying.
I feel like Yone players just love being able to sling in and out in that way. Very satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason FlyQuest won that fight in the mid lane is because Vicla had the kind of Matador play where Dhokla steals Yone ultimate and charges right for Vicla, but Vicla just Soul Unbound a little bit to the side, dodges out on it, and then they just blow up Palafox.
And I think off of that individual play being highlighted, FlyQuest worked very well as a team to just keep their focus on these objectives, get themselves the soul right now, an Ocean Soul at that, And even though the gold hasn't been this monumentous moment, it's a steady crawl for them, trying to get the finish off onto Dhokla. Vicla, I think he's feeling himself. I think he's feeling real good on this Yone.
He certainly is. I love some of the interviews with FlyQuest members on stage afterwards, too. They're so supportive of their teammates. And Prince was talking about trying to find ways to encourage Vicla to be more confident in his play. Well, this game is going to be just that. He's definitely been confident today, and rightfully so. 5-1-2 on that Yone. Massive level 1 start for him with that invade and with that advantage, and he was successfully able to pair up with Spica, influence the side lanes, come over, get a bunch of those picks, and push the game forward.
Even if this isn't the week that it happens, because there's so many factors that come into play, Prince, in his Player of the Week interview he did with Jat, was talking about how, yes, he wants to keep getting them, but wants to see other teammates getting them as well, and called out Vicla as the first he would like to see do so, because he is just a strong player and what he brings to the team. And I think we're seeing that on full display here on the Yone. But all the while, FlyQuest feeling good with what they have accomplished thus far, continuing to venture on forward on this map. For CLG, though, are there any angles that you can identify for them and how they should be approaching these next few minutes? No longer have Baron buff to worry about, but are pretty pushed into their base.
Yeah, you've always got the, pray for late angle. That is the fallback for every team that is down Dragon Soul at 25 minutes in. You're thinking, don't worry, it's okay. You just got to keep telling each other, we're fine, we scale, play for late. You got to hope for that big team fight. The problem is, of course, always that you are going to be pinned up in a really small area here. So it's hard to get a surprise on your opponents, as FlyQuest are doing a very good job once again. 1-3-1, pushing them in, not overextending though. To give anyone up, and you kind of just have to go for it. You have to have everyone just charge forward, overload one side, get your pick, and hopefully you can do that quick enough that the other parts of the map don't fall to FlyQuest, because in a straight up fight, FlyQuest are definitely going to dominate.
And that's the difficulty, as you see on your screen, what FlyQuest can do even when not mounted as a whole crew. Vicla, the subject of Luger right now. Luger over the wall, flashes forward for the final burst. Fire! Woo! Putting only the second death into FlyQuest's mid laner's pocket, but a death at that as FlyQuest continue to entrench upon this mid lane. A little bit of a tickle onto the inhibitor, but not enough to finish it just yet.
Big Dokes here, barely able to survive on the outside, and allowing Luger to flash in and get themselves another kill onto Vicla, another shutdown here. That's about all CLG have been able to scrounge together since FlyQuest have fully taken control, but that's how you have to attack it. Attack that side lane, attack the split champion. If FlyQuest are gonna play all 3 lanes, see what you can get on one of them.
Grants yourself a sense of reprieve when you can take someone down like Vicla in this particular matchup. Define the condition that CLG want to lean into.
And Zeri here, Luger, with that shutdown money, is starting to look like a pretty scary Zeri. We've got Dhokla already 3 core items on the Gangplank, so you know and you dream of those big barrel chains. If you can get one of those back onto Prince, get them some nice zoning work done in this team fight, then the Zeri is prime for cleaning them up. It's going to be very difficult, of course, to be able to find that positioning. As you highlight all these wards here from FlyQuest, they've got the entire map lit up, and CLG having a very scary time trying to protect against another sneak Baron from FlyQuest.
A sneaky, that's exactly what happens. You get that Nature's Grasp right over the wall because of that vision afforded. They're locking down onto Impact, who goes into stasis himself. But CLG are backed out of it. Timber is about to be burned down. So a slight fight for a moment, but FlyQuest still in the river positioning and can move forward on their own.
And if it is an extended fight here, of course, this Ocean Soul for FlyQuest does a lot of work, healing them right back up. They've got Maokai saplings in every single brush. CLG, they just have to push forward, brute force it.
Yep, Impact with teleport available will be coming into that bot side. Poome getting chunked down. Vicla into the back with the ultimate, starts to slash. Contractz is the first subject, but actually it is Poome the first to fall. They've taken down the jungler, and Palafox is immediately upon stopwatching falls as well. CLG is big. Dokes works. You better be big when you're the only one standing on the map and you got Vicla upon you. But FlyQuest, they see that line, they see that avenue into the base right now, and they ain't afraid of Dhokla.
Yep, FlyQuest delivered the killing blow, baiting around Baron, turning out the lights, and it's Dhokla versus the entire team.
Dhokla just with his little Gangplank self in the fountain for FlyQuest. Ain't no loss, gonna keep him down, bouncing back against the surging CLG. 8th dub of the round robin.
Well done for FlyQuest securing themselves first place after the first round robin. No one can catch them. Evil Geniuses and Cloud9 are the closest at 6 wins. They get one more here today, can get that second place, but FlyQuest will remain #1 in the LCS. Only dropping the single game in the first round robin to TSM yesterday.
And sometimes that single game can get some people weak in the knees when they're watching. Oh, what are we witnessing? But nope, still same FlyQuest, still same domination, still same clear game plan from start to finish here.